Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're back on the dev server, and it's Kleber time. What is the Kleber? Well, this is a new French destroyer, which is coming in, specifically part of the Dessert class. It's the D603 from 1952. But you may actually look at this and think, wait, I've seen something similar to this before. And you'd be right, because it's a German destroyer. This, I'm guessing, was either like a war reparations one or one that the French kept after the Second World War, since this is just straight old German. You'll find it in the tech tree for the Blue Water Fleet. It'll be between the Chacal and the Milan. The French already have a German destroyer in the Marceau, which they also got in the 1950s. This is a Type 1936A class. So this will be the second kind of French destroyer to turn up. Second German destroyer to turn up. So this one being rank 2, it has access to the 128mm. It has 4 single mounted sets, so 2 on the front here, and also 2 on the back. Usually I actually prefer a little bit more firepower, but these 128s don't actually have that bad of a reload. You can see here the first stage is 18 rounds a minute, with the fire rate being 16 rounds a minute once you run out of that first stage, so you can put out a decent amount of damage without really having to worry. The ready use ammo is incredibly small on these vehicles though, so just take that into account as you're using these guns. Then you have 6 40mm Bofors, so you can see them in here in these types of mounts. There's a few in the center of the vehicle, and then also some in the back, so good AA support and also secondary support. 20mm, you have a quad 20 in the booty, and then also 2 dual 20mm you can find at the front here, with very odd firing arcs because of where they're actually positioned on the machine. It also has the German torpedoes, so not the French ones, the G7As, and they are in quite nice mounts, so you'll be able to fire them at decent different areas, which is nice. Overall pretty good. So what's the issue with the 128s? Because they are okay to use, they have a good general fire, a good general reload, you can put out a lot of rounds. The meta and also the damage models around a lot of destroyers and a lot of cruisers changed. So instead of HE being the focus, AP with HE became the focus. The problem with the Kleber is it doesn't have really any AP. You have a HE, the high explosive fragmentation shell. It has 1.91 kilos of TNT equivalent, which is pretty low, and also 24mm of pen. You then have the base fuse HE, which only has 1.4 kilos of TNT equivalent, but does at least have a bit more penetration. And then you have the HETF, which is based off of the first HE that you can see here. No AP, no real penetration, so what you're going to do is a lot of superficial damage to destroyers and hope to set them on fire, which will eventually blow them up through their ammo rack. And if you're facing stuff which is modified, that doesn't really work very well. Instead, what you're going to do is you're just going to have a pretty rough time. The G7A torpedoes, they do travel 14 kilometers. They're not exactly the fastest things in the world, but they're okay for the 4.0 level. If this was a bit later on, I wouldn't really like these torpedoes, but at 4.0 that's pretty low for destroyers, and usually the engagement distances are a little bit lower too, so that would be completely fine as well. Armor-wise, well, it's a German destroyer, so you have 16mm of hull armor and 8mm of superstructure. Pretty much means you have nothing. And then also 8mm on the turrets themselves, and also you have, is it 16? Oh no, 12.7mm of armor on the 40mm as well, in the form of gun shields. So once again, not really a lot. The vehicle is very bog standard in that way. You also have the magazines here, engines in the center, smoke funnels, and of course a ammo rack at the back here, with the steering gear and propeller shafts in tow. Aiming at this area is probably what I would do, but generally, if you've faced German destroyers before, you'll know exactly where to shoot this thing, which is the standard ammo area to make them go pop. So this is another German vehicle that has been added to the French tech tree. I don't really find it really that interesting, just because of the fact, we've already seen many of these different things before. and hopefully in the future we can see some more unique French vehicles. The naval side of France is actually kind of cool. They do have some really cool stuff, but right now they're filling the tech tree through either British vehicles, German vehicles, or even just some other ones in the terms of, other nation stuff. It would be nice to see more French things, if I'm honest. And we do have a French battleship that's kind of come in this time, but it is just a copy of one that already exists. So the French is becoming kind of copy-pasty, which sucks, because they had a really good start with many of their guns doing a lot of damage and their vehicles being very fun to play. So now, being in this setup kind of sucks. Hopefully something's done about it. Hopefully we can get some more unique French vehicles, whether it is in the form of the larger vehicles or other ones, because seeing more stuff like this, I mean, it does kind of fill out the tech tree. And, that I suppose is nice. But at the same time, you don't really need that much in naval because, you already have good lineups around these BRs for France. And for some reason, that is just not taken into account with this vehicle. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.